Welcome to the show. All right. Um, it's kind of a continuation to the other one on how to build your own temple. Okay, because what we're doing here, this is all, there's all having to do with Buddha and all this stuff, and you have the within and without. Um, it's kind of like people have been doing this light worker stuff, starseed stuff for many years, and there's another there's many levels of ascension and understanding things, because you have teachings that have been erased from the people, and you see all this chakra stuff, and you see all this rainbow stuff that is on the surface of everything with Buddha and stuff, and the killing of Buddha back in the 60s, and all this stuff. And so you have the symbols, the Hindu Buddha symbols, people, it's hard for people to understand that stuff. Okay. What this is part of, this is your teachings on how to build your inner temple. Also building your outer temple, because there are the symbols that were hijacked from the people. Everything was hijacked. Your spirit was hijacked. Your inner spirit, the Adam and Eve of creation, was hijacked. Okay, this is the serpent and the tree. So if you're born into this reality and you look at the spiritual teachings of the world, and the First Nation being in America wiped out, the Irish wiped out, you can look at Africa and dark tribes, you can look at Asia and everything, you go down to New Zealand, everything, South America, the Mayans, everything. So you're born into this reality of lower vibration, with no rainbow, trying to lift yourself up back into higher frequency. This is higher consciousness. This is returning to the Christ path that was taken away, So the way that this works, you have the Illuminati, you have the Freemasons, and everything that has been taken away. Okay. The temples you see on the outside, everything from the Mayans to the Aztecs to whatever's across the pond, you have the temples that were here before the invasion. Then you have the temples that were created, like in Egypt and stuff. After Egypt fell, the Illuminati and the Freemasons, as they say, and the King Solomon Temple and stuff like that. In reality, every circle, line, and square belongs to Divine Father. All of these symbols, the Sun Cross, the Star of David, everything like that, the triangles, the Spirit Triangle, Earth, and all of these symbols that go within, they actually go within the circle. That, the whole thing, I forget the whole, you have that the symbol of the man and the woman in the circle with the arms out, and it's a two being person. That is the Adam and Eve in the tree, let's say. I forget the name, but this is you building your temple. Okay. The people today, they don't know how to build it, and that's a huge part of it. Even if it's because it hasn't been available to the people as a teaching, because you have everything that happened after the fall, let's say across the pond, Freemasons and stuff, them being temple builders, they're actually the fallen ones and their minions who have been trying to access the feminine temple, because the feminine temple is all of the chakras, put together, that it would be the straight path through the Divine Mother, okay? The Merkaba. But you have to be able to figure it out for you to become enlightened. And the only way for you to become enlightened is to figure out the pattern, the path, the Rubik's Cube, the getting past this black cube and getting past the mind of confusion to be able to understand how to build your own temple. This is your rainbow, this is your fairy window, because inside of your temple, your sun cross in your belly, and this is the solar plexus in your belly, this is where your dragon comes from. This is where your kundalini comes from. And this will enlighten the ladies into returning back to the fairy realm, returning back to the unicorns and reuniting with their dragon. Because that's in reality what it is. Hold on, be right back. Okay. Because in reality, that's what it is. And so, Buddha has his dragon, and the Asians worship their dragons. And, people, the First Nation worshipped the rainbow dragon, and it's all connected. But there is a threshold. There must be an understanding of one. There needs to be an understanding of how to access the temple and how to access the higher realms, because if people just sit there, the main problem with ascension and not being able to get through ascension is because Buddha was manipulated. Buddha is the serpent, the real serpent in the tree. Buddha is the mercury within, the alchemy of, the salt, the sulfur, and the mercury of what the dark ones were trying to manipulate, because you can't get through to other realms if, these key elements have been manipulated by the dark ones. And this is all a higher vibration, the fourth dimension, the spiritual realm, between the man and the woman, the mercury and the the sexual energy of creation, because you have the Buddha and you have all of this, Tantra and higher vibrating sex. And in reality, if you move beyond this dimension, in the fifth dimension, you don't, this dimension's gone. So you're no longer in this being, and you're giving, being birthed into a higher being, so that's a little far. So we're going to get back into this human body and try and transition our human body into a light being, as they say, crystallized, our DNA, because we need to get rid of our stuff. So what we're doing, our solar plexus, we're moving forward, and this is all transitioning because there's a new earth. There's already a new earth, okay? But the way that this works is we're creating a new earth. Divine Father's creating a new earth. I've already had visions of it. I have many visions of this stuff. Visions of the good and visions of the bad. Be right back. And so the threshold of getting rid of your own demons, as Mother Earth Gaia, she's getting rid of her. So this is all being taken off of the planet, and it's being taken out of the people today. But the people are confused because they have been mind controlled in this reality. Doesn't matter how enlightened you think you are, you're not able to ascend like a Buddha master up in the Himalayas, because it is what it is, because the mind, the mercury, has been corrupted. And so, the meditations and stuff like this of clearing the mind, sitting in a corner, of separating from this reality is very key at this time, because we're creating the new earth, we're creating the new peace movement, and the older generations who grew up in the 60s and 70s, born out of the 60s and 70s, are now an older generation who hold the light, because we're the ones, we are the children of, we are the rainbow. we have the experience, we have the knowledge of Buddha already being present in America by understanding what was taken away from us. It's just understanding a little bit farther because the mind has been cut off. Buddha was being killed and everything, but the separation is, it's difficult to comprehend because people are scared of the spiritual world. They're scared of the unknown, so they ignore their feelings, they ignore their emotions, they ignore the stuff, and they have been programmed to be put into this fear-based society of not understanding, watching horror movies, satanic, Luciferian heavy metal that came out of the 80s versus peace and love music, the manipulation, it goes on and on. So back into this, what we're doing, once we understand how to draw the circle, or circle of protection, and our fairy window, our four-cornered fairy window, or squared circle. See, this is what they're not going to tell you, Once you figure out the symbolism and you put all of your chakras together and you draw your circle and, and all this good stuff, this is your window. Because you'll have the Star of David and you have the cross, you have the circle and, and all this stuff. But this is all within the Mayan time and within the calendar. So, you have your fairies and you have, the fairies have their circle and they know their fairy window, but they're not able to access it. And so drawing it out and working on it and stuff helps understanding it, because we need something visual in our eyes to be able to understand it. And that's what people lack today. The whole thing of with God and creation, they're scared of the spirit because God is spirit, Mother Earth, and ignoring everything. This is the whole corruption. And so when one goes to meditate, they're not able to really truly leave their body for long periods of time because the body's not able to accept the vibrations of heaven. You have to be able to, after your meditation, get up, look outside, and look at hell. You can't ignore it, because Buddha didn't ignore it. He left his kingdom. He left his palace, and he went out there and he saw people suffering. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. So the people today, they just ignore what they're seeing. So you have to be able to stand in your spiritual power of understanding that you're in hell, because when Buddha left his palace, he went into hell. And that's what this is. You're in hell. But people don't, so combining the symbols, writing your symbols, drawing your circle, doing all of your stuff, your Merkaba and everything like this. People look at what Saint Germain and, in that aspect with Ascended Masters, but they're not able to understand that the four corners, the Sun Cross belongs to Buddha too, just like it does with the First Nation. Every tribe has a Sun Cross. Buddha has the Eightfold Path, but people don't understand what it is because they don't have the teachings of it. And Buddha has a circle. Fairies have circles. The darkness stole your circle. They stole your fairy circle and turned it upside down and hijacked your spirit. But what this is the feminine fairies, the masculine spirit that the women have. So it goes like this. This 8, as everyone talks about, this infinity symbol, the butterfly wings. Because if you were to stand in the center with your chakras. If you were the one standing in your circle with your chakras aligned, you would be Hermes' rod, you would be the staff, you would have your Kundalini rising within you with your butterfly wings, one on each side. That's what this is. And also you have the transparency of the translucent, whatever it be. Transparent. I don't know. One of those freaking words. So you have this four corners. You don't have the mirror on the wall anymore, because that's the manipulation. You have the fairy glass that's within the temple. The fairy glass is the mica, because you had the mercury that was running through all the temples, on the Akkadian line. You have the temples and the mercury flowing through, and within you had the waters. You had the water coming from above the temple, coming into your head, and you had the salt waters below the ocean, and whatever it be. And so within the temple, within your temple, you have fresh water, you have salt water, you have all these symbols in your chakras, because you are the temple. But they're not going to tell you. And that's your view that people have of your outside world. So you're going to step into these powers and these energies of your Kundalini rising at this time, and you gaining your angel wings and learning how to fly. Fly like a dragon, like a rainbow dragon. Go talk to the First Nation people. Go talk to the original tribes. They'll tell you all about this stuff. Why do you think they created airplanes? Where do you think it comes from? They copied everything. So, separate, meditate, listen to proper music. Listen to peaceful music. Vibrate at a higher frequency. Ignore the outside world. Not ignore it, you gotta pay attention to it, but just observe it. This is the Buddha. You have to be able to look at it, but don't react to it. That's the problem, because that's where the loosh is. That's where they take your energy, because your emotions are out of whack, because you're not understanding this reality. And that's the bottom line. That's just the bottom line. You're not understanding spirit. You're not in your own power. There's demons within you. There's demons and darkness attached to your chakras, attached to your spiritual body, that make you feel bad. And so when you feel bad, your bad emotions come, and your mind is corrupted because you have doubt that you're not a good person. Because there's something in you that makes you think that you're not a good person. And then that person over there doesn't think that you're good enough. It's all within. The manipulation is within. So when you stand in your power and you know that you're loved by Creator, you know that you're loved by Divine Mother, Divine Father, by Mother Earth, Father Sky, that the animals love you, and that you doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. Everybody has been destroyed. So we're fixing the DNA by rising the true serpent back into the being of creation. This is the dragon. This is the fairy dragon. This is the dragon that all the women love. But they have forgotten, and they have been taken away from this. It's the fairy tales of the Nordics. So